Arabic fonts. And it's been a while I've been working with the Arabic type, and I was using the name Continental Letters. And last summer officially it was now Continental Letters is not anymore my own work. It's a small independent type foundry in Lebanon, and I'm trying to collaborate with international and renowned type designers to work on multilingual scripts, Arabic, Latin, or other scripts. But basically our specialization is Arabic. These are some 3D letters I worked on in preparation for the Jamil Prize exhibition, which is going to be in V&A in London in December. So my talk is going to be briefly at the beginning with some brief history. Then I'm going to speak about 3 letters, the ha and the sin. And in each letter I'm going to dissect it and show you how different stuff it can be drawn in, how awesome the letters are and how crazy they can go, and how different structures each one of them can have, which I think is not available in most of the other scripts, maybe beside some other non-Latin crazy scripts. So we're going to start with this sentence. It comes from a book called Calligraphy of Islam, Reflections on the State of the Art by Muhammad Zakaria. Muhammad Zakaria, he's a very famous calligrapher. He's also a historian, and he did big studies on Arabic script. And he was able to find this word, this sentence, or sometimes also draw his own, which shows you how fluent and diverse the Arabic is. Just showing these different slides, you might think that they are different languages, but actually they're just different variations. So what we're seeing now is the Kufi styles. For the Arabic people, if you look at this and you know that we have tashkil in Arabic, the old Kufi, we used to use the round dots for tashkil. So if it is above the letter, it's fatha, it's a. Below the letter, it's a kasra, e, and beside the letter, it's the u, which is really interesting to know. And the dots actually were the like a small stroke, which are now like the fatha, which is really interesting. So what you're seeing now is Old Kufi, Eastern Kufi, Floral Kufi. These were all the beginnings of the script. And then we go to the Maghribi Kufi, which is the Western Kufi from Spain and Maghreb and the western part of the Islamic Empire. And you can still go and see all the variations of the letters. The sentence says, أنا عند المنكسرة قلوبهم لأجلي, and it means my heart is with the people who are broken, or they were broken for my heart, and it was said by the Prophet for the people who were following him and fighting for the Islamic Republic. But also it's very poetic and it's very passionate. And now we move to the more cursive options, which are the Thulus, Ruk'a, Ta'liq, Ijaza, Diwani, all the others. So I'm showing you all of this just to make the point, like we're starting with the letter ha. So let's take one word in this sentence, which is Qulubihim, which means heart. And this is Qulubihim in all the Kufi different styles. So this is only Kufi, from the old Kufi up there to the Maghribi Kufi down, and here are the modern Kufi. And this is the ha, alright? It's the before the and you can notice how variant it is in the Kufi, and then you see it in the cursive letters, scripts. And then if you take them apart, so these are the Kufi ha's, and these are the cursive ha's. And you can see how diverse they are, and they don't look maybe like the same letters, but actually they are. And most of them, they are really based on either one loop, which is divided into 2 counters, or 2 loops, or an open counter. If we take the pen stroke for each letter, for example, this old ha, so here is the ha, and here is the representation of the pen stroke. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strokes to build this kind of ha. Where here we have 7 stroke, we need 7 stroke to build this kind of ha. And it's a really different shape completely from this one. which is more rounded and there's more two counters in it. Here it's like standing, it's like a ayn, but not a ayn, it's like standing on a neck with two counters to it. This ba with two loops above each other, it can be seen as a flipped capital B for non-Arab speakers. This is like a meme with a stem, and I was surprised to find this because for the past few years I was working and searching about Arabic. I never came up with this kind of ha, and it seems that if you make a loop and a stroke, it becomes a ha and the old Kufi, which is also interesting. Now these are the more standard kind of has with the open stroke at the beginning and then the looped counter at the end. Also the two-story, if you want to compare it to the lowercase a, it has two stories, so it has two counters. Either they are clotting or they are open. Also this shape where it's, now we are in the cursive forms, like the thulus and the nasakh and the diwani, and they have this particular shape. Can be a butterfly, it can be any shape you can, and this is the least simplified version of the ha, which is only the bottom part of the ha, and it's only like a small descending shape. And the Persian, and if you want to go more crazier, these are different ha in the Kufi script and the square Kufi script. So all of these are also has, and besides all the others before, and which is like, what, like, look at this ha, and look at this ha, and this one, and this one, and all of them, they are like has. Okay, so how do I want to draw my ha for my own typeface or for a client's typeface? Then I say, which ha I want to choose from. Most of the time we are stuck with this kind of ha, which is the most common because it's based on the Naskh style, and the Naskh style is the most readable font or script. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some projects or lettering I did for logotypes or typefaces with the letter ha. So Alhema, since we are in Holland, any one of you remember Alhema? It was in Amsterdam like 5 years ago, and we did the Arabic version of Hema, and we did products. And these are, because it starts with the ha, so here you can see like how I am trying to inspire from the old Kufi has or the Naskh ha, and try to make maybe a hybrid between them, or a more geometric ha, or a more edgy ha, or a more round edged ha, or a angular ha. And so all of these options they come from the old scripts and from the old tradition of the script, and this is amazing for us being Arab designers. Like, we have so many stuff to look at, and so many stuff to inspire from, and so many stuff to fall in love with letters. And so another project is Al-Maha, and it's a middle form of the ha, and these are some letterings. Al-Maha means oryx. It's the desert gazelle, and it's for the first class magazine in Qatar Airways. Qatar, yeah. So Al-Maha, and would I keep the medial form of the ha, which is inspired more from the cursive scripts, or would I use the initial form of the ha and try to link it in a certain way with the meme or the lam, or would I use the open ruk'a or the Farsi kind of ha? So all of these options come into head when you're working on a certain wordmark, and then you start doing some options, trying to mix them with type or with some images, and seeing which one works best. And then this was actually the final, but now we're doing also a updated version of it. This is like a in-between improvised kind of ha, which is not a nasakh nor a ruk'a kind of ha. It's like in between the two, which also can work for a word mark. Another logo with the ha is Hadra Cafe, so it's the first letter here. So here is the 3 counter rounded kind of ha, the 2 counter ha, and the open cursive kind of ha. With the heme or not is the starting point for the Arabic, and then how it works typographically with the English version, and this is the final. So back to the ha. The ha, actually, it's the most complicated letter in the Arabic script. This letter has 4 completely different shapes, and it's medial, final, and isolated, and this is the initial form. So the shape changes completely. Beside that, each shape of each position can have its own variant shapes. So it will be like endless amount of variations. Just a quick study on this, like these are examples from fonts from 29 letters with different kind of ha. So this is only the letter ha, and it's 4 positions from different fonts from the 29 letters library. These are the initial ha's, the medial ha, and you notice that the medial ha can retain its initial ha if it's more Kufic font. It can have a more cursive form or the open kind of form. And when you look at these structures, they're not anymore nasakh or diwani. They are like new forms for the ha, done for this specific font, for this specific client. They are inspired from the maybe naskhi ha, but it's not anymore. It's edgy, it has these curves to it, it's between being a Kufi and a Nasakh, it's somewhere between these 2 worlds, which is interesting because you can build an immense amount of letters and keep on going. These are the exact forms. If we put them all above each other and I make a quick comparison, you notice that there's a lot of change happening. This is only the fonts that are based on the Naskh style. But if you overlap them all, you see that somehow the main skeleton is present in all. So the black part is present in all of them, which is the main skeleton structure of the hat. Again, the old hats. And I'm just showing that this is part of a project I'm working now on. I was trying to come up with new ways of drawing the hat, because maybe I was bored from the traditional way of hat. And I'm always trying to challenge myself to create new forms of letters for new fonts, which sometimes is a bit challenging. And in this project I was trying to create new shapes for the hat, but they were all rejected from the client for the cause of the legibility and if the readers will be able to read it or not, or all this stuff. But I was happy working on them, and I was happy experimenting with them. And like this kind of medial hat, it's like a sculpture. I love this hat, but I can never use it. So I can only show it in talks like this kind of hat. Anyways, so back to the next letter is the ha. So what's the difference between the ha and the ha? I think all of the non-Arabs, you can't say the difference. The ha is from the tip of the mouth, and the ha is from the throat. It comes from back, the ha. And if you want to transliterate it, there's only this dot different to it. So the ha letter is this elegantly letter which has an eye shape and a belly shape and a tail. We call them in Arabic al-ayn, al-batn, wal-danab. We have some anatomy for the Arabic which is a bit interesting, and it's not as stiff as the Latin. In the Latin we have a stem, a bowl, a shoulder. It's very structured on vertical measurements or vertical structures, where the Arabic is more fluent and more curvy, and it has different forms of names. So I'm going to go fast now with the other letters in order not to make you, for the time, not to make you bored. So these are all the Kufi different kind of hats, and these are the different cursive forms of the hat. You can see how the difference between the eye and the belly balance change drastically between different styles. And this is also an interesting point to take account when doing Haida, or how the eye changes completely from being a straight horizontal stroke to become closed, or to become really slanted or open. So again, the ha with the structure of the, you notice that they're really different. So these are the numbers, and this is the direction. So it starts from up, goes down, and then these are all the Kufi ha, and now this is the cursive hats. The dots that you're seeing, they're not part of the letter, they are part of the dot system, نظام النقط, which is done to keep good proportions for the letters. In some examples, I will show you quickly what kind of process I went for doing the new logo for 29 letters. So this is more urban structured. It's based on the Kufi, old Kufi. When I did it, it looks more like graffiti urban style, which cannot be used for a corporate branding. So we dropped this idea, but still it's what was fun to do. This is more geometric form, also based on the Kufi. So here you see the hat, which is the Kufi old one, which I'm aspiring for. Square Kufi, because it's always fun to make square Kufi, and it's always easy, and it's like a small puzzle. You can fill in the pixels or the boxes, and you play around with it, and you come up with a word mark, which is nice. So 29 letters, 29 harf. Harf is letters, and the ha is the first letter, which is here, and the name, which is also here, and here, and here. The people who don't know square Kufi, it's something like this. It's a arabesque, basically, or pattern that are done using Arabic words that are fitted within a grid. And all of this, for non-Arabs, you might see it as a pattern, but for Arabs, you can read it. And this says a certain word. And this is a paragraph. It starts from here, and it turns all the way until it finishes here. Anyways, back to the cursive options. How do I do the ha? Do I keep the belly or not? Do I make it straight or not? Do I reduce the form of the ra and the fa? Do I make it with a certain ending tip or not? Do I vertically or horizontally, or I can chop it up and put it above each other? So all these can be an options, and it's endless. The final logo is what you see now, which is somehow a mix of the two, and it's only the eye. So I get rid of all the belly part of the hat. And it's only like a small eye shape with a hint of the belly happening here. But also it works as a hat. The last letter is the sin. The sin is also a very intricate letter. I also like it. It has at the beginning kind of teeth, and then it has a bowl, or a kese in Arabic. It's like a bowl. And these can change drastically, and these can change drastically according to the style. So if you look here, these are the old Kufi. This is the cursive fonts. In the Kufi, you notice that the kese, the bowl, can be either straight or curvy, and it can be big or small. And the nasakh, basically, it's always curved. There's no many other options. Whereas for the teeth, they can be really short and mountain-like, or like tall and spiky. We can have teeth on them, or in some styles there's no teeth in them, like the Ruka and the Nastalik and Diwani. We don't have, we remove the three starting strokes, and it becomes a long stroke of the scene. So all these options can help you to make up so many different kind of scenes. And an example for this is the scene TV, which is, we did so many examples because it's called scene TV. So I went and set out with the calligrapher. We did so many options for the scene based on what I told you. And we ended up doing like hundreds of different kind of sketches, with the teeth, without the teeth, with the ball, without it, cutting them into pieces, and then trying to do some logos with it, having it shaped like a flame, or having it shaped like a certain gesture on TV, and all of it are scenes. All of what you see are certain interpretation for the scene. These are a bit rough, but this is also still a scene. At least, I don't know if you want to see it as a scene. And then this project didn't take light because the crisis happened and the TV station didn't start, and then it was on hold. And then after 2 years, I got another client from Saudi Arabia called Suwaidi, and also it starts with the scene, the name of the company. I said, I should go back to the scene sketches I did 2 years ago. So I went back to the sketches and did some other more sketches, and then started doing some examples. Here it's not only the scene, it's the full word, but the scene can be only, you see it straight, you see it here only as isolate form, how it works in a word mark or an icon image. Very minimalistic, cubist kind of scene. The company, they do pipes and construction, so it's very heavy and construction kind of firm. So all you see there are different forms of the scene. Again, to the square kufi because it's fun and easy to work with. And at the end, we ended up with this kind of word mark. And the last that I will show is safe. Also, it starts with the scene. It's for a construction company also in Saudi Arabia, and I wanted to. This was the first sketch, and actually this was the last logo, but I had to make so many other options to convince myself and to convince the client. So not only to. So here are some fast sketches, some calligraphic options, working with the calligrapher, doing some outlines. So this is the full name, but this is the scene happening here. But then you see this is the. So hey, this is a scene. This is a scene also. And this here can be a scene also. And here it's in this shape. And here it's in this shape. So Arabic is fun. No? Here it can be in this shape, or this shape, or this shape. I think I should go fast, or this shape, or this shape, or this shape, or this shape. And this is the final form, which I really like because it's like a monogram. It's like one gesture. It's like making one fast hand drawing. This is the scene, and the ya and the fa, and they make the name of the company, which is safe. And thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Any questions?
So I wonder if you showed the square kufi,
Yes.
the pattern style, and you said that it starts in the middle to read the whole thing.
Yes, if it is a long paragraph, it starts from the middle to the out.
And it's always like this, so you know.
Yes.
Ever when I see something like this, it has to start in the middle, or is there a little sign which says?
No, there's no signs. There's no guidance coming with it. You have to decipher it by yourself.
Okay.
Usually, when it's a long paragraph, it always starts from the middle, and goes outward. Maybe it can also. I think it depends maybe on the pattern, how big it is. Because if it is small enough, it can start from the corner. But like for example, this kind of emblem, it's the same word repeated 4 times. You see here, it's mim ha mim waw, and dal, and it's repeated 4 times. And this part is repeated 4 times. So actually, it's only 2 words, but it's repeated. So sometimes there's a repetition, and sometimes it's a continuing sentence, and it depends on the structure.
Okay, and another question. How do you learn these options for the letters you showed? It's like, I don't mean the final or medieval.
You mean the different variations?
Yeah, because it looks so different that I think you have to learn all the styles.
What we learn in school basically is the nasakh and the ruka style. Like most of the Arab people, they either learn these basic ones. Knowing all of these is part of doing your own research and looking at manuscripts and digging up some old books and manuscripts and coming it together. But basically what is good about the Arabic, because it's so flexible, as long as the skeleton of the word or the letter is available, then you can directly understand it. And even someone who doesn't do all this research and he looks at any of these forms, they will know that it's a ha. I don't know how we do it, but we know it. I don't know. It works. I don't know how, but it's crazy. Yani. If you go back to the ha, different shapes.
Any more questions?
Yeah. The character you showed in the first row.
The ha?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Is the similarity between the different forms
Yes.
smaller when you also include the strokes you make in the air? Because either you do one stroke or you lift the pen in between.
Yes.
But when you lift pen in between, you still have the movement.
Yes.
So when you include the movement, then is the similarity then between all these
So
different expressions?
The movement is similar between. You're saying that the movement is similar between the letters?
It's in many Latin characters. The
Look, in the
movements are the
Kufi-
same between the capital
in
E
the- in
and
the Kufi it's
and
not-
the lowercase e.
And the Kufi is not the case, I think,
No.
because it's a drawn kind of script.
Okay,
and
Kufi
it's-
not. Yeah.
But if you go to the cursive versions, then maybe this is true. Like for example, these versions of the simplified ha, they are part of this kind of ha,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
without the upper head happening.
Yeah, it's just
And
default.
these two, they are versions, and this is coming from the initial form of the ha. But if you look at these kind of structures, none of them has any kind of link to it
That's
whatsoever.
Okay.
And actually, what's happening now, or at least what I am noticing, is that the least script that we speak about or use is the old Kufi, or is the Kufi. It's the least script that is documented in any calligraphy book. There's no proper rules about the Kufi, but if you look at it, it's the most extensive script for the Arabic, and it's it's crazy.
Okay, thanks.
No more. Thank you.